Hey everyone, so excited to be here. Special guest today. Bear with me. This intro is a little different than normal, so here we go. For today's guest credits, I will happily be the lister from The Real to the Christmas Miracle and, of course, Sister Sister. Now as a dessert competition host, she has the bakers quaking on Prime Video's new challenge, Dr. Seuss Baking. So I promise that's it. I won't rhyme this intro mostly. Please welcome to group text my special guest, Tamera Mowry-Housley.
I am dying. You did that amazingly, and you got to experience just a little bit of what I experienced as being a host of a Dr. Seuss baking show.
Let's just get
Yes.
Let's just get the plug right in. Dr. Seuss Baking Challenge is now available on Prime Video and Amazon Freevee. Yes. It's a big, bright world of sugary adorableness. 9 teams playing for $50,000 in baking challenges that incorporate the universally beloved style and characters of Dr. Seuss.
Again, amazing job. You hit everything. I had so much fun on this show.
Oh, I bet.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, visually, I was just in awe because they literally, on my first day, they kept the set, hidden from me until I plopped on, for the first time. And wow, I felt like I was in, one of the Dr. Seuss books. They did such an amazing job with this set that if you were in a bad mood, you couldn't stay in a bad mood working on this set. And then also just like the smell of the sugar, the milk, the butter, and I'm lactose intolerant, but I didn't care. I literally had the doctor on the set. I was like, yo, you got that lactate? Don't tell anybody.
Could you imagine? You should have walked in and been very LA. I'm also gluten intolerant.
Yes. But it was so much fun. And these bakers, they were so talented the hardest thing about doing this show, what the challenging thing is about doing the Dr. Seuss Baking Challenge, is the fact that, Dr. Seuss is very iconic. So everyone knows what the cat in the hat looks like.
Right.
So you can't do your version of the cat in the hat. You have to make sure the hands and the feet are great. You have to make sure the colors are just right. You have to make sure the eyes are amazing. You also have to make sure, because in Dr. Seuss books, this is what I love though, the illustration, everything is kind of like moving, even though it isn't. And it all has to taste well, all at the same time. And it was fantastic. It was whimsical, it was magical, and I just had so much fun.
Well, and it seems tailor-made for the entire family, especially kids.
Yes.
But your kids are how old now?
I know. Oh, geez, man. I can't believe I have a 10-year-old and I have a 7-year-old. I remember just announcing Araya, announcing I was pregnant with Araya. I mean, it's crazy how fast time goes, but I haven't seen an episode, by the way. I've only seen the trailer. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And my kids they're excited as well. And you hit the nail on the head when you said this is, a family baking show, because you're talking about Dr. Seuss, you're talking about the books. There's always a lesson in a challenge. That's what's pretty cool. But they don't hit you over the head with it. It's actually a fun variety show as well, Melissa. They have me being goofy and silly and
a stretch for you. Oh, but I wanted to ask about your kids. Are they picky eaters? Because
my daughter,
you're a foodie, and I'm a picky eater. My son used to be picky. Now he is not.
There's hope then, because my son is a picky eater. My daughter is not.
Well, I'm still a picky eater, and my parents used to have to pay me to eat more than 5 bites of something if I didn't want it.
Okay, so you're like my son. What is that? I wish I had that. I wish I could only take like 5 bites of something. What is that? Do you just not like food? What?
Oh, no, I like food, but when I was little, I was just so picky. And by the way, my son will still eat butter noodles happily, but he is a much more adventurous eater than I am.
Okay. Well, my son won't even eat butter noodles. That's how picky he is. Like, and he literally just, I want to say like, he's 10. I want to say like 4 years ago, he just tried pizza. Like he is, he's extreme. I remember calling the pediatrician being like, how do I keep this boy alive? Like he has to eat. And he was like, well, as long as he's like drinking milk, he should. And I'm like, oh Lord, but he's gotten better. But he's still very picky.
There is hope. So how did they find contestants for this show? It's not like you can, fill out an application and mail in a sample.
I think social media helps a lot. There are lots of people with YouTube channels. There are lots of people, with Instagram profiles, but I don't know exactly. I don't, but I'll tell you this. They casted an amazing 9 teams of bakers for this show. What's really cool is that do you know the difference, Melissa, between like the pastry chef and the cake artist?
I would think I could figure it out because I watch a lot of baking shows and food shows, even though I cannot cook. A pastry chef would be more in the line of patisserie and makes very small, little pretty things, where a cake artist is more into the architectural and decorative type of baking.
Yes. So that's what makes this show different. There are pastry chefs who can do both, obviously. But on this level, you need a serious cake artist because, they were baking huge Hortons, which is the big elephant, in Dr. Seuss. And they truly had to know what they were doing because there were some novice cake artists where things were falling off. They didn't hold. And that's the whole point. You have to have it look and taste amazing at the same time. All in like 4.5 hours.
Right.
So this show puts together to make one team, a pastry chef and a cake artist. And they have to get to know each other on the fly. And in that process, they're learning each other's weaknesses, their strengths, and they're all, trying to win that, $50,000. So, you could have an amazing pastry chef, not so great cake artist, but you got to make that work and you have to learn from each other. And that I would say was really inspiring and interesting to see. I just love the human spirit, Melissa.
So there had to be moments though, just because we're humans, where you can see that 2 teammates hate each other.
That happened.
Oh, that totally. But it's got to be something off camera where you have people having words and then having to go back on set.
Well, I feel like in this show, they're following you all the time. So it's kind of like a reality show, they couldn't hide. But you can definitely see in their body language. And, when they kind of just like, I give up, like, okay, I'm just going to focus on me. But that's not how you win a competition. Right. So you have to learn real quick that, this isn't about friendship. This is about, making things work on the fly.
How long was the production schedule?
There was one day we worked for like 18 hours.
I was going to say, because at one point you have to say, I cannot have any more cake or cookies today.
Girl, I said I was lactose intolerant. At one point, I could fit in my pants, and then the other point, it was just like. And the running joke is well, that has to release somewhere.
Jeez. Did you just go home and like eat potato chips or lick the salt shaker?
I didn't want to, at the end of this, I didn't want to touch anything with, butter, flour, sugar in a long time. That I did appreciate some French fries. Yeah. I did appreciate some just some potato chips with some salt.
Go for the salt and vinegar ones.
I love them. I love those, except when you have a cut on your
that's never no.
Or your lip.
But you're no stranger to baking shows. You were judging Baker's Dozen, Table Wars. Do you like watching them as much as you enjoy hosting them?
Yes. I do, because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of those shows, and I know, Netflix has, some shows, and I know it's competition, but, I am a home baker and I love bakers. I love, their stories of how they became bakers. There's always usually that fun one. There was one guy who was an engineer, and he was like, yep, nope, don't want to do this. During the pandemic, I learned how to bake off of YouTube, and this is what I do now. Those stories are really inspiring. And also I love to eat. I love to eat sweets, and visually, I love interior design. I like fashion. So I like pretty things, and to be able to make those and then to enjoy them by eating them, I think that's just such a cool, it's a cool treat. I don't know, call me crazy, but I think that's the reason why I just love, hosting these shows. It's a genuine passion for me. It does not feel, working those 18 hours, yes, it was hard on my feet. Yes, I was tired, but I enjoyed it. I love my job.
And that always comes through with people.
Mm-hmm.
So how awesome for you being a fan of pretty things and that whole kind of genre. Right. How intimidated were you the first time you walked on set with Martha Stewart?
Well, absolutely, because I was told by some people, you have to be careful on how you approach her. Make sure you don't talk about A, don't talk about B. And I was like, well, damn, okay. I absolutely, I love the lifestyle genre. I love entertaining. So I've been a fan of hers for years. But when I saw her, I literally was like, okay, I don't know how to be, and I'm sure you can relate to this. You come across as the same person. I don't know how to be anyone else but myself, right. Which is the reason why I was chosen for the reel. I just can't help it. So that is the one thing she said she loved about me so we're friends now. Thank right. God. I mean, I'm friends. It's like, oh my God, I'm friends with Martha Stewart. Oh, she's so cool. But she said, I love that you didn't feel like you had to put on, to talk to me or be a certain person. You were just yourself. And I got the approval from her by saying, she said, you are an amazing host. I am so glad you are doing this show. You are fantastic. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, she invited me to her house. She had a dinner just for me. I was like, wow. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I met her horses. I saw her garden. Yeah. So my thing is, you just have to be yourself around Martha, because plus Martha's 80.
Yeah.
So Martha has seen some things and knows some things, kind of like daytime TV. She can see when you're not being your authentic self. There's this one guy on the set. He was our stage manager, and he would talk to her like this. Martha, hello, how are you, Martha?
Oh, jeez.
And she said, why are you talking to me like that? You don't talk like that in real life. I was like, damn.
Well, people don't realize how funny she is. She was friends with my mom.
Yes. And what you see is what you get with her. And most of the time, if she's frustrated with something, there's a reason. There's a reason for it because she's been around. She knows what she wants, and she knows how things are done. So, and when Martha's not feeling it, she's not feeling it. And I'm like, she's been around. She's Martha. You do you. You.
How did you start baking and getting into food? Was food a huge part in your
Oh my God.
family growing up? I mean, because you and your sister started Sister, which is unbelievable to me, in 1994.
Okay.
So it was over 100 episodes by the time it ended. I mean, I grew up on sets. You had to eat a lot of meals off of the craft service table. So it's pretty amazing that you became a cook and such a sophisticated palate when most of your childhood diet consisted of Ritz crackers and red vines.
Well, this is the thing. Before all of that, and even once we got home after that, we had home cooked meals. So we couldn't afford I grew up on an army base. We couldn't afford to go to all those restaurants and do all of that. But my mom wanted to make sure that, we ate well. So my mom and dad cooked. My mom and dad taught us how to cook at the age of 8.
Wow.
And guess what? My son can make his own. My son is 10. He gets up and one morning I smelled bacon, eggs, and French toast. The boy was up. He can cook his own steak with rosemary, butter. So we were involved at a very young age. And so the same thing happened with baking. Now I started with the yellow cake box, Duncan Hines. And the really hard chocolate icing. And as I got older, I wanted to learn how to make that and bake that with real, ingredients, raw ingredients. So it's just, she introduced us to cooking and baking at a very young age. And then after we finished, Sister, yeah, we had amazing catering food, but we always had a good home cooked meal. So that's where it all began. And we knew how to cook a Thanksgiving meal at 16 years old by ourselves.
Okay.
So yep.
I was going to say, one thing, I can't let you go any further.
Okay.
So your son, who doesn't like to eat, is a great cook.
Well, he knows how to cook the things he likes. So he loves steak. And so he will make his own steak. He literally will put butter in a hot skillet, like the black iron cast pans. He will put some rosemary in our garden. He'll get that. He'll put his salt, his pepper, and he will make it himself. And it's not as great as I make it, but he will eat it because he made it. And that's how we actually got him to try newer things, just to get them involved in the kitchen. And my thing was, Aiden, just try it. Just try it. When you try it, but he's a texture kid too. But so he's your meat and potatoes kind of a kid, and definitely has a sweet tooth. That's my fault. But yeah, they know how to cook. He loves pancakes. He loves bacon, and he would do that himself. He gets the mix, and yep.
I'm a texture person also.
Oh, so maybe that's what you guys, maybe that's why you're so picky.
Well, right? Here's one of the, I will only eat certain kinds of pears because it's a texture issue. I am sorry to just tell you it might not get better.
You told me there's hope, Melissa.
There is hope. I used to not eat pears at all. Now I eat the Bosque one. Okay. So okay. I know you're on the press tour for this. I am so frightened to ask this. What are you doing next besides raising 2 kids, running a home, making your house pretty, cooking, baking? What am I missing? I mean, do you have 6 new books? Is it your book coming out? What else? I mean, do you have any time to breathe?
Melissa, I'm sitting my ass down. I'm finally sitting my ass down. Kind of.
Kind of, sort of, but not really.
Yeah, I am doing some, to develop television shows and movies, you kind of have to do some of the, the work behind the scenes for, a couple of years. So I'm doing that, but I'm sitting down. I'm like, okay, we need to rest. I need my mind to catch up with my body. Like it's sometimes I'm so goal oriented and I'm creative and I have these ideas and then I spit it out and I'm like, oh crap, that worked. That happened. Okay. So now I'm like grabbing my mind from being out here, being creative, putting it back in my body and being like, let's chill for a moment. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm putting on money that you last about 3 weeks. Okay, I'm just saying we have a lot in common.
Okay.
I give you 3 weeks and maybe I'll throw in an extra long weekend.
Okay.
Let's plug the show again. Everyone, tune in now for the Dr. Seuss Baking Challenge, available on Prime Video and Amazon Freevee. It is adorable and fun, and you, Tamera, are one of my favorite guests, and I love you so much. And we have to not go this long.
Oh, whenever I see you, it's the same. I love that you are you, and I loved your mother.
I know. And I'll invite you over, and we can have takeout, because that's about as good as that was our version. That was our version of family cooking, ordering out.
Okay,
yep.
I'm down.
She might spit it out in the powder room, but nonetheless.
Oh, thank you.
Happy holidays.
You too, my dear. Have a great day.